Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Joseph Francis. I am your host for the evening on another episode of Fan to Fan, episode 61. That's 61 episodes since last January. That's amazing. And so much has happened. So much has grown. We are going to have an emotional ride today because there's so many emotions happening. There's so many things in the last week. Sports has been plentiful. Sports has been crazy. But that's what we love. We love talking about it. But before we go any further and before we get into the talk and the conversation and the introduction of the panel, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Make sure that you go check out that beautiful extra point by one of our panel members, Heidi, who really so eloquently put a fact of loving wrestling. Heidi, the passion there was unbelievable.
Thank you. I have very strong opinions, and I have very strong opinions about being allowed to have strong opinions.
Yes.
So it's really, I mean, even if you're not a wrestling fan, what it was really about was the idea that nobody should get to tell you that there's something you should or shouldn't like based on who you are. Like, you should get to decide what you do and don't like. And so it's more than just about wrestling, but it is about wrestling.
That is true. That is true. But I'm also going to bring in Calvin. Calvin on a triple shot. What is up, my man? How are you feeling? You're in the morning.
My sports world is turned upside down. Life is good. But as far as sports right now, I'm lamenting. I'm not going to lie. I'm in my feelings.
You're in mourning. There's so many
Where's
things
the shiggy
wrong.
dance? I feel like doing the shiggy dance. Kiki, do you love me or you're riding?
What?
I don't know. The shiggy, come on, man. I'm gonna school you later after this.
You might have to do that because I don't think I know what that is.
The In My Feelings challenge? Mm-hmm. You see that?
That's it?
Yeah.
Isn't that a TikTok thing?
It started before TikTok, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, boy.
It could be.
Let me find out you like TikTok videos.
I think you need to watch Heidi's Extra Point again.
He just likes Drake.
Yeah, well.
That's right. Exactly.
Watch
Calvin,
it.
don't let anyone tell you that you cannot like the things that teenage girls like. You are allowed.
Y'all are crazy.
Man.
That's right.
Y'all are crazy. But we are going to have an amazing episode of Fan to Fan. But before we have an amazing episode of Fan to Fan, I got to get something off my chest. See, there's a beautiful saying that I love to say. And I say it on a regular basis because I believe it brings the best in us in competition and competitiveness and all the things that you might think come along with this saying. And those who watch wrestling know this saying. In order to be the man, you got to beat the man. Right? Well, we're in the midst of the NBA playoffs, which are doing some amazing things right now. There's been some amazing matchups. There's been so many matchups that I cannot believe. And before we get into that, the fact is that teams are being eliminated. And we're going to talk about those teams. We're going to talk about a few teams in particular. But here's the bottom line. The fact that expectations were put on certain teams that really weren't able to live up to those expectations is amazing to me. See, us as fans, we want to root for the teams we love. That's nothing wrong with that. Root for them. Root with your heart out. Always understand that when you root for a team, you come from an emotional place. You're coming from a place of heart. You're coming from a place of dedication. And to a certain extent, and maybe to a fault, you're coming from a sense of loyalty. Well, when your team loses, you got to be realistic with yourself. You got to be realistic with the fact that your team was not good enough to be the man. They didn't beat the man, so they got beat. And I know I've had heartbreak many times, thousands of times, tens of thousands of times, where I've literally sat there and said to myself, why did I root for this team? Why did I do it? Why did I do it? I couldn't stand it. Well, you know what happened? What happens is that I realize that in a sense of sports and reality and fans, you got to have that sense of reality. You got to have that sense of truth. You got to be realistic with yourself. Because the key to being a sports fan and never having your heart broken, maybe, is to have a sense of reality. If you think that your team is going to win the championship every single year for the rest of your lives, that's not reality. Every team loses. If you think your team is going to go undefeated in the span of a 82-game season, 162-game season, even a 16-game season, that might not be realistic. Obviously, 16 being a lot easier to achieve than 82. But the fact of the matter is that if you cannot, and I mean cannot, accept that your team wasn't the best, and if you don't know how to live up to that reality, well, what are you doing? You're living in a state of delusion. Well, it's just my opinion, because at the end of the day, fans are passionate, and I love the passion, and I love the passion for sports. It's what makes sports great. It's what makes the fact that fans are back in an arena great. That's what it makes. But remember that saying, in order to be the man, you got to beat the man. And if you can't beat the man, you're not the champion. You're not the last one standing. You're not winning a chip. Well, here's the thing. There's 8 teams left standing right now. Okay? And those 8 teams are pretty good. And they had some pretty tough games. Even though series didn't show it, there was a lot of 5-1s. There was no sweeps, but every game was pretty close except for a couple blowouts. But the fact is that the teams that went home are not the man. They are the runner-ups. So they got to get better. So I say all of that to say that we are talking about the NBA playoffs to start this show off. And the NBA playoffs are so unbelievable. This is where we stand. We stand with the NBA playoffs in a sense of this is what it is. That is what is, happening in the playoffs right now. Right now, we have the Philadelphia 76ers going up against Atlanta. We have Milwaukee going up against Brooklyn. We have Utah, the only West team to make it to the semifinals, because all the other teams are having, there's a little bit of problems. Dallas has the one-ups on the Clippers. We saw that coming. Portland is losing to Denver. Kind of saw that coming. Denver is the better team. And everybody is shocked by Phoenix being on top of the LA Lakers. And I'm going to tell you, it's not through the fault of anything your own. But the question that I have, so that I could let the panel get in here and say some stuff, is what is, looking at the playoffs, you're looking at what's happening, okay? And the first thing that you got to realize is that this is where we're at, okay? So let's talk about the teams that are still in it, but that are down. Who do you think, that's the Clippers, the Lakers, and the Portland Trail Blazers, who do you think is the one team that is that's going to have the most trouble getting past, coming back? Because here's or has the best chance. Let's do that. Mm-hmm. Who has the best chance to come back from that 3-2 deficit?
I mean, I just want to say, because I don't want to have information other people don't have when I answer this question.
Of course.
2 things that are worth pointing out. Anthony Davis is supposed to play tonight. So
okay.
Tonight we've got the Lakers and the Suns. I don't think anybody thinks the Lakers are likely to defeat the Suns without AD.
Nope.
But he is tentatively expected to play. And so that does change the calculation. The other thing that folks may not know is as of this moment, the Trailblazers are up.
Wow.
Against the Nuggets at halftime, 68-61.
Wow.
So I think what I know I would have said a couple hours ago.
Uh-huh.
I am revising. Look, so Calvin, I can go first here. I think.
Yeah, because I'm gonna let him go first in the next question.
Yeah. Any of these teams can come back, right? Like obviously these are not blowouts. Any of these teams can come back and extend their life in the playoffs.
Their life.
Because if they don't, I mean, the Lakers absolutely can beat the Suns with AD. I think that Trailblazers can beat Denver when it's not just Dame playing.
Of course.
Which seems to be the case tonight, so that's good. And I think pretty clearly the Clippers can beat the Mavs. So if everybody shows up. So I guess for me, the longest shot in a way feels like the Lakers right now, just because AD's a little questionable. We don't know how he's going to play with that injury. But that is not to say I don't still think they have a good chance of winning. But probably
interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I would have said the Trailblazers 2 hours ago. By the way, would have had the hardest road. Did you watch the last game?
Yeah, I did.
And you thought And the one where only Dame showed up and everyone else I think was in the locker room.
We're gonna get to that in a second, but
and he was sad after he played the best game of his career.
Yes,
and
we're gonna get to that.
So I thought I didn't have a lot of hope for that team. So it's nice to see they're rebounding a bit.
Calvin, what do you think?
Who has the hardest?
Who has the best chance to come back from a 3-2 deficit?
I'm going to say I want to say nobody, but I'm going to say the Clippers. Just because it just seems to be this weird dynamic that they have, and it kind of seems what team is going to play. Here's the thing that worries me about saying it's the Lakers. Is because they seem to be two drastically different teams, and that their top two are probably, like 1 and 2, 1 and 3, wherever you want to place them, right? Or at least top 10 players.
Okay. I gotcha.
But to play a game, and granted, I know AD means a lot to the team, but 2 starters to have 0 points?
Yeah, very much.
0 points.
Yes.
Like none. Like Shannon Sharp said. Shannon Sharp said, look, we all had the same amount of points as 2 of the starters in that game. Yes. And our plus minus was better.
Yes. Very true. So this is what
that's the thing that would just get me, and look, don't even get me started with Portland. That is like, I've never seen somebody legitimately so dejected after a game. But I love Damian Lillard because I feel like he keeps it 100% honest, even with his emotions being what they were, right? Like,
yes. Let me explain something to you. So who's your pick? Who do you think has the best chance of coming back?
The Clippers.
By the way, I actually also think it's the Clippers. What I had said was I thought the Lakers had the less likely chance.
Yes.
So.
Fair enough. But this is what I'm going to say. I'm finding it fascinating. First of all, I agree that the Lakers have no shot.
No, that's not what I said.
Well, I know. No.
So you can't agree with something I didn't say.
Okay,
I did not say they had no shot.
Least shot, and I'm going to go a step farther and say they have no shot. And I'm going to tell you why. Because, first of all, I don't know if anybody... Yeah, exactly. Calvin, look at me that way. Look at me that way. Because here's the bottom line. The bottom line is that AD... How are you going to play with a groin injury? Anybody who's ever had a groin injury in their life knows that you can't play basketball when you have a groin injury. He's going to be slower than everybody else. Wow. If the Phoenix Suns are as good as I think they are, they would. DeAndre Ayton should attack him. And every time AD's on him, whoever has AD on him, they should blow right by him. And that's going to make the injury tighten up, and he's going to have to leave the game. That is the strategy. LeBron
Chris Paul's also hurt.
Huh?
Chris Paul also re-hurt his shoulder. I know most people didn't watch it because the second half of that game was atrocious.
Yes.
But Chris Paul did re-injure his shoulder. So
he did.
That is a factor also.
But he did, but here's the thing. I think his injury is a shoulder injury, and I think he's able to manage it more because he's just like tough. Like Chris Paul is one of the tougher dudes in the league.
I forgot what a big old wimp AD is.
He's a wimp.
Also, it's a groin strain. Like, how do you know how bad
do you know how many injuries that AD has had in his career?
That doesn't
Many.
make him a wimp. Are you
joking?
No.
So like, he's not a wimp, and like he's not a tough guy. He's a great athlete. He's strong.
I'm pretty sure he can play through some
his
pain.
body is injury prone. That's the bottom line. That's what history has told us. And now he has another injury. LeBron doesn't look like himself. LeBron doesn't look like he could put in 45 points, and that's what they're going to need to beat this Phoenix Suns team without AD. And by the way, if AD is on the court, he's not going to be 100%. And this is the thing that I'm going to say. The Clippers, to me, have the best shot. And reason being is because the Clippers have 2 of the best players, and I do believe that Rondo, looking at Kawhi, the way he was looking at Kawhi in this picture, I don't think it was disrespectful. I don't think Kawhi took it disrespectfully. I think that Rondo is a respected veteran, and he took it as, okay, it's Rondo telling me this. Anybody else would have told him that, he would have been like, oh, what do you don't talk to me that way, but it's Rondo. And I think that team has enough skill to beat the Mavs. Now, Portland has this situation where Portland has their role players who didn't do anything with Dame. We all saw that. Dame put up an amazing game, and the stats are kind of insane. He put up 55 points, 10 assists, and over 12 threes. And on top of that, I think he had like 7 or 8 rebounds. He was all over the place. And Dame, and it was such a high percentage of shooting. It was amazing. It was a near perfect game. And his team didn't show up. The Lakers had the same problem. The team didn't show up. As you said, Calvin, zeros all around, donuts on a starting lineup. This is the thing that I say, though. It comes down to pride. It comes down to saying we're better than this. The Lakers could show up all day, every day, saying that they're better than what they are. That supporting cast, they're not better than the Suns. They're not better than the Suns supporting cast. The Portland Trailblazers supporting cast is better than the Denver supporting cast. And coming off the bench. They have more skill in theory, and that's the point. They have more skill and talent. So this is what I'm going to say. I'm going to say the Clippers have the best shot. The Lakers have no shot. And Portland, it would not surprise me at all if Portland beats Denver.
I want to just say, have you noticed, Calvin, tonally, that he just acted like he was disagreeing with us the whole time, except he literally said what we said, except went slightly further with LA and acted like you and I are just insane and he had to set us straight, except he actually just agreed with what we said.
I did.
I think you just love to take, you just argue with people,
I do. But that's part of being a fan. If we were in a bar having a drink, we would be arguing.
Now,
even over an agreement.
I know. Look, and I will say this, though. LA's... Okay, before LeBron came, before LeBron came, right? Like, and then this is something to speak to, like, kind of what he does. But I don't know if it's actually a super benefit because, like, as streaky as they were, like Kyle Kuzma, like let's be real, not as fans, the media acted like when LeBron James came, Kyle Kuzma was the second coming of somebody. He ain't the second coming of nobody. As far as his consistency,
he's not. I agree with you.
Right, but like his consistency and all of that, like he'll come one game, like when they played the Knicks and he was doing whatever, and he acted like he Kobe 3.0.
Yeah, but
don't put up 0 points.
This is what I'm gonna say, and look, this is why I'm saying the Lakers have the Phoenix Suns are a better team. Okay, the Lakers have the better superstars, but the Phoenix Suns are a better team, and the better team's gonna win. I don't think they're gonna win tonight. I think the Suns are gonna close it out, and LeBron's going in the first round. Which, by the way, this is another gap in the GOAT conversation because Michael Jordan never got eliminated in the first round in his entire career. So, that being said, no, never did.
A little apples and oranges, though, huh?
I'm just saying, just yet another thing. He never did. Never did. His first year, his rookie year in the playoffs, they went to the second round and got swept. Okay.
Could be. I don't fully remember back then. I wasn't that old.
I'm just going to put this out there, and I'm going to put this out there because I think it's important. Clippers versus Mavs, 3-2. Big ups to Clutch Points for putting this graphic together. That is an amazing graphic. And this is what is happening. This game is being dominated by the Dallas Mavericks defense. The Dallas Mavericks are beating up the Clippers like they're not scared of them, not anything. And the 2 games that the Clippers won were very close. And I look at that and I say, I am worried. As a Clippers fan, I like the Clippers. I'm worried.
They won game 4 by quite a bit.
That's true, but I think the Mavericks just had a bad night, and that was pretty good. And then you got looks like this where you say, oh, is it bad? Apparently it's not. Apparently it was coming from a place that it was a good place. The Lakers are playing the Suns, and once again, big ups to Clutch Points. They are doing amazing things with the graphics. And look at this, and it's, once again, you see the commonality here. That's kind of a common theme where the team that's in lead is just not scared of the stars. They're not scared of the people they normally would be scared of. You got Chris Paul just guarding LeBron James like, yo, you're my friend. I'm not scared of you. I've guarded you before. And Devin Booker with the swagger. Oh, my God. That's going to be the topic of the next conversation. He is so amazing. He's guarding AD. He's not supposed to be guarding AD. He doesn't care. He's doing it, and he's doing it with swagger. And I love it. And the thing that I want to say is that Chris Paul says, you're my friend. You're not his friend, because he wants to win a championship. That's all he wants to do. And LeBron just looks totally deflated and just looks like this is not what he was trying to do. And the most important fact that I want to point out is AD is hurt, and it's a groin injury. It's not some little ticky-tack thing. If you were in the regular season with this injury, it would be 2 to 4 weeks. You'd be gone. Okay? And somehow he's trying to play 5 days later.
I just want to say.
Yes.
This is like your little anti-Lakers sadness porn montage. Like, I mean, where are the sad shots of everybody else who's hurt themselves and LeBron with his hand in his whatever. I just want to say, you enjoy your little Lakers sadness moment here.
Yeah,
and it's
this is what he does.
Like, I'm just saying, people, this is a highly biased set of photos.
Not at all. Not at all. Because if it was the other way around, I would have the Lakers celebrating. If they were up 3-2, I'd be like, Lakers might defend their championship.
Next week, if the Lakers make it,
they're not. They're so not.
If they do, I am personally compiling a LeBron happiness montage that you must show on the air.
Please, I will show. Absolutely.
There's going to be balloons.
There is no bias. There's no bias. And then last but not least, we got that Denver versus Portland series, which, these are MVPs right here in my book. Yes.
Did you say there was no bias?
There's no bias.
Absolutely
no.
zero?
I'm telling the truth. The Lakers look old, slow, and beat up.
You saying you calling this straight down the middle?
I am.
That's what you're saying?
I am, because if and I'm going to put us back up. If the Lakers were up 3-2, I would be showing the reverse. I'd be like, the Lakers are going to defend their championship. They're not. And not only are they not up 3-2, the Lakers look old, beat up, slow. They look like you just got finished saying that Kyle Kuzma is the second coming of nothing.
I know he is.
Okay.
That's
no,
right.
all I'm saying is, but you ain't talking about the fact that when they did get beat, Devin Booker threw a fit and then got a flagrant 2.
I know. I'm not saying that it was. I'm not saying it's right.
I'm making a new T-shirt for him. It's going to say Joseph Francis, realistic and impartial.
You're damn right. You're damn right. That is me. That is me. I am not impartial to but in a great series, the Portland Trailblazers, Dame showing off. I mean, look, they are playing. I think Denver's the better team overall. I think that Portland has a better supporting cast, but I think Denver's the better team. I think Jokic this year is a little bit better than Dame, but Portland is playing them tough, and I hope that this goes 7 games. I hope it goes into triple overtime in the 7th game. I think this is one of the better seasons. And this was the moment of the week, I thought. Dame Lillard just hitting that pop 3 from the beginning. The one thing I'm disappointed in is Yusuf Nurkic, who is not playing a good series against the Joker. He's not. He's putting up like he's fouling out. He's not putting up numbers like he was in the last playoff. And they needed him to have a big series. I think the reason why this is 3-2 and it's not 3-2 the other way is because Nurkic hasn't really shown up. That being said, we are going to move on a little bit. And we're going to move on not away from the NBA playoffs, but now we're going to change up the team. Because out of the teams that were eliminated, we know who those teams that were eliminated were. The teams that eliminated were the Knicks, were the Washington Wizards, and were the Boston Celtics. And, of course, being eliminated by the Milwaukee Bucks was the defending Eastern Conference champions, Miami Heat. So those are and also the Memphis Grizzlies. So we got 5 teams eliminated. And now I'm going to pose it to Calvin, okay? Because now it's his turn to be impartial and biased and not biased.
Not biased.
Out of the 5 teams I just mentioned, who has the brightest future?
I know many would think that I would be impartial with this, but here's the thing, and we did talk about it offline. The Knicks might have the best future, but here's the thing. Julius Randle said it himself. He's not a viable first option. Yes, I know you said it, Mr. Impartiality, but right now, I don't care what you said. And here's the deal. Like me being me, right? I've always said I'm going to celebrate what the Knicks are doing before I crucify them for what they can't do. No, I did not think that they were going to win the finals. I thought that I said it on previous show. Depending on how they played Atlanta, if the same team that was playing during the regular season came up and found ways to win, I thought that they could have probably went far, depending on how it went. Obviously, that didn't work. They showed where the flaws were, right? Like, because it was executed that way. And I gotta say that seeing what they saw, knowing what they know, depending on the moves that they make, right? And to me, honestly, this has, and let me just say this, you and Max Kellerman and maybe some other people are understandably still hurt from James Dolan. This has nothing to do with James Dolan, because they did this even with him there. Now, if they did this and James Dolan was fired, I would be like, it was about time you got the trash master out of Madison Square Garden.
Yep.
But somehow he learned to stay the hell out of the way, and that's fine. So for y'all that say or have said that supporting the Knicks is supporting James Dolan, I'm not going to say things that'll get our video kicked off of YouTube, but you got another thing coming, buddy. Okay, anyway. So the Knicks have the highest probability, if they make the right moves, right, to ascend. But right now, I'm going to say Miami. Miami, as constructed, although they play like boo-boo. They play like boo-boo this year.
They did.
But it is the same team. It is the same team who's shown that they have dogs, so they need less pieces, right? So this is where I'm going with this. Because they need less pieces, they still had that continuity, right? So they had the ability to kind of look back and be like, look, right? Like, we was playing like garbage, B. Like, and let's not discredit the fact that the Bucks actually got better.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you right now.
Can I go?
Yeah, I'm going to let you go, but I just want to say, I want to give you a piece of information before you make your pick final. Reports are coming out of Miami that Pat Riley's going to blow it up. Like, he's going to trade pretty much everybody and start over.
Oh, damn it, Pat Riley. You know what, Pat Riley? You've been effing with me since 95. Like, when did he leave?
96, but yes.
96. Yes. You've been messing with me for 15 years, B. Okay? Either keep the team together or don't do nothing. Why ain't he retiring?
I mean, he's great.
Godfather, don't come get me. Don't come get me, B.
He does look like the Godfather. But they're saying that he will. I'm not saying that it actually will happen, but that's the reports coming out of Miami. So you want to change your pick?
Oh, so with that being said, what has the I know you don't like this, but tough, you're gonna have to take it. The Knicks or Memphis, because Memphis is not scrubs like you say. You just haven't watched enough of their games. You haven't. On the East Coast, they don't show Memphis, so I'm not blaming you. But
they don't show Memphis because Memphis is boring. That's why.
Memphis, first of all, they're not boring.
Boring.
Have you watched John Morant play basketball?
No, John
Okay,
Morant
so one guy is going to make a team interesting?
Yeah, well,
yes,
that does happen.
I don't think so. I think the Bulls were interesting because Pippen and Rodman were there.
No,
and the Bulls,
come on. The Bulls?
Who wanted
I'm
this?
saying because...
Okay. Did Zion Williamson not make all of the Pelicans now attractive?
That's true. You got a point.
Only his shoes were
and it was only his shoes were that attractive.
I mean, it's funny. In a rare moment of disagreement with Calvin, I actually, it's funny because, and again, I'm kind of going with presently constituted.
Yes.
Because obviously, but I count this as presently constituted. I think it's the Celtics when Jaylen Brown is back.
Oh. But that's my beat. Yeah. You know what? You're right. I didn't even think about the Celtics.
Yeah, I think like when he's back, then they've got a strong 1, 2, and 3. So again, as presently constituted, I think. Now question though. Also, question that just been pondering. Who now we would say, right, that because of longevity and things like that, although they've been at the same time, that they kind of are saying that it is not Jaylen Brown's team, but what's his name? Light skin.
Jason Tatum's
team.
Right?
You always forget his name.
I know, but here's the deal. Jaylen Brown is just as good, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So is it fair that at the same age, right, they're 23 and 22, for Jaylen Brown to have to take for argument's sake, the Scottie Pippen-esque role, right, and it not be his team, that might be the only thing to me that was Boston's undoing, is they never really had the thing to say, this is really Jason Tatum's team.
So this is what I'm going to say. I'm looking at teams. I'm going to eliminate the ones that I have no faith in. Washington, unfortunately, Bradley Beal, I don't even think he wants to be there. I think he's happy to be there. I think he's the type of positive dude that when he's in a place, he wants to make the best of it, but I don't think he wants to be there. Russell Westbrook certainly doesn't want to be there. He wants to be on a contender, and I think he wants to be on a team where he doesn't have to bear the load. And obviously he put on a good face, and he did what he was supposed to do. They wouldn't have got to where they got if it wasn't for Russell Westbrook. Memphis is boring, and yes, they have John Morant, but they don't have, and they have Jackson, and they have the Valanciunas. They got all these guys, but I just feel like everybody except John Morant is like an average or good player. Nobody is going to help John Morant. And now they're a playoff team, so they're not going to get any picks. And nobody's going to want to come to Memphis. Now, could they trade for somebody? Yes, they could. So, as presently constituted, I'm not seeing them doing anything. So that leaves me with Miami, who I believe has fundamental issues, and as presently constituted, they have Jimmy Butler, who I always said was not a superstar. He is a star. He's good, and he can lock people down. The problem is that he's really the best player, the only player. Bam Adebayo doesn't take the step forward. I feel like he's a good player. He's another good player. And Duncan Robinson, right? Good player. You got a bunch of good players that for some reason don't click and don't mesh. So now that leaves me with the Knicks and the Celtics. And I'm going to tell you right now, okay? The Celtics have the most upside if you as presently constituted, except Kemba Walker can't stay healthy. Brad Stevens is now the president of operations. And they got to find a new coach. So at the end of the day, we don't know who the coach is going to be. I'm assuming the coach is going to be somebody. Right? There's question marks. What I will tell you is that I think the biggest upside for a team, I said it a million times, the Knicks are 1 star away.
Yeah, but that's not presently constituted.
It's not presently constituted, but the thing that I'm going to tell you is that if I had to go out on a limb, right now, as presently constituted, the Knicks are doing the right thing at this moment. They lost. They didn't lick their wounds. RJ Barrett tweeted out he's back in the gym this morning. Okay? So what that tells me is that all of these young players are going to spend all off season getting better, working harder, and the Knicks should have the most upside.
You think with the team as the way it is right now, not adding a superstar, that they can beat the Celtics with a healthy Jaylen Brown?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And reason being is because we're not going to have a healthy Kemba. If you have a healthy Kemba...
He's an on and off.
No, he's injury prone.
Hey, honey,
he's had a lot of
injuries. He was in my fantasy league. I'm well aware of Kemba's...
Are we talking about playoffs?
I
think we're talking about just...
We're talking about...
overall performance.
Overall performance, and we're talking about getting back to the playoffs, getting back to doing something. Listen, this is what I'm going to tell you. The Knicks... RJ Barrett's got to get better because I believe Stephen A. Smith said it earlier on First Take. You have Zion, who's the number 1 pick that year. He's up here. You have John Morant, who's the number 2 pick. He's right with Zion. They're right there. And then there's a cliff to RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett hasn't come close to making an all-star game. He hasn't come close to showing that he is the star that they drafted. He looks like a distant third. And you know what? RJ Barrett is better than that. And Quickly is really good. Obi Toppin is really good. They're rookies, though. At the end of the day, these guys have the next 6 months to get better. And they should get better. And Tibbs... I'm going to put my single camera on for 1 second because I got to address something to the Knicks fans, and I'm going to get into this. This is where the emotion comes in. All you Knicks fans and the one Dallas native, and you know who you're talking about if you are watching, I'm going to tell you right now, the fact that an hour after that game was over, you talk about firing Tom Thibodeau? Do you understand without Tom Thibodeau and without Julius Randle, by the way, a bunch of people saying that Julius Randle should have been traded away immediately. He never should have been a Knick. A bunch of Knicks fans saying that. Y'all got caught in your feelings. Because at the end of the day, Tibbs is the one that got him to the playoffs. Julius Randle's the one who got him to the playoffs. They both are well aware that he did not coach to his potential, and Julius Randle certainly didn't play to his potential. He is not the first option. They need to go out and they need to get another star. So that brings me to the next question. And the next question is very simple. We got some fantasy basketball. Futuristic. I'm going to put 2 deals on the table. You are the Knicks GM. You are the president of the Knicks operations. You are the president of basketball operations. Yes, you got a nice 7-figure salary. You're chilling. And you have a chance to pick up, and I'm going to Calvin first.
Okay.
You got a chance to pick up either Devin Booker or Dame Lillard, because Dame Lillard is now mad at Portland because they got bumped out of the first round after that performance he put up, and he wants to be out. And you talk to Portland, and they engage you. And Booker and Phoenix, they engage you. What are you giving up? First of all, who are you going after? And what are you giving up? Because remember, these are all-star caliber players. Definitely Dame Lillard's in the Hall of Fame. He's a franchise player. Devin Booker is young and a franchise player. So would you do either one?
For me, I'm going Dame.
Nice. Okay. And what do you give up for him?
Good question.
That's where it gets tough.
See, here's my statement though. Before that, I honestly don't think, right, in a trade that the Knicks have anything that would be comparable for Dame Lillard or Devin Booker. But saying that, if we're
that's honesty. That's honesty. I agree with you.
What am I willing to give, or what would I probably have to give up? I probably would have to throw RJ Barrett in there. And I know that's tough.
Not that tough.
Not Julius Randle at all. Let's see. RJ. See, they probably gonna want quickly.
They're gonna want quickly.
They're gonna want quickly. Both teams is gonna want quickly.
I think both teams gonna want quickly.
Oh yeah, crap. Both of them gonna want it quickly. Oh yeah, that's a given.
Oh, that would be tough.
Gotta hurry up because we gotta move on.
I might have to give up both of them. I might have to give up RJ
for Dame Dollar
and quickly.
And what else? Because you know they're gonna want more.
I'll give up some of those picks.
Yeah,
they got 7 picks in the next 2 years.
Yeah. Okay.
Because Dame is max. Dame is max, and so is Devin Booker, right? So it's gonna cost money.
But you do realize
thing that they could do.
Okay, I'm not even gonna say what I was about to say. Heidi, go. Who are you going for, and what would you give up?
Calvin and I are back entirely in sync. I would go for Dame. I would give up RJ Barrett and Emmanuel quickly. I would not give up my beloved Obadiah Toppin.
No.
But or Derrick Rose or Julius Randle. I recognize that now you have a team with a large number of older dudes on it. But I think, and this is one of the things we were talking about, I feel like the Knicks, they need to win. Like, they need to win and not, like, take a developmental plan. Like, oh, we're building. We're going to win eventually. Like, I feel like the Knicks need to win as soon as possible, right? And like that is the thing that needs to happen. And so
that's a dangerous thought process.
I would rather. Well, I think it is what it is.
That's what got James Dolan in trouble 10 years ago.
Well, except you got to make good decisions, and I think Dame would be a good decision. I think the other thing that you have to be realistic about in the New York market, and we talked about this before, is that you have a team that is as much of a powerhouse and as winning as the Nets.
Yes.
And you have to think about how many fans you start to lose in New York to the Nets who were
going to win a
Knicks
chip
fans.
this year, yes.
Yeah. So,
Okay,
I mean,
first
it
off,
becomes a little more dire.
you stop
Not
with
Calvin,
that.
obviously. Not Calvin.
Calvin doesn't like
No.
Brooklyn
Not
anymore.
Calvin.
I don't know. He was raised in Brooklyn and
Calvin,
doesn't like
people
Brooklyn
people
anymore.
like Joseph is my point. Like you're
Yeah.
gonna
Well,
lose, you're
yes.
gonna have more Joes
Yes.
Listen to me.
Yes.
with their scones.
I want you to look at the
Joe,
screen when I
yes.
do this.
with his fancy.
Yeah, you know what you're
Brooklyn
picking up. Okay.
I love my lattes and my scones.
Calvin,
Damn it!
he's making his own pickles now.
I am.
Oh,
No, I'm
pickles are
kidding.
great.
I'm
No,
kidding.
I'm
He's
not.
making his own pickles.
Now I will say this.
I gotta
will
say my picks, man.
Wait, no. I'm just
Go ahead.
to the point, Heidi, about the winning and all the other stuff. I don't think it's dangerous, and this is not a shot. But if you ain't saying that Brooklyn didn't have a "we need to win now" mentality with the moves that they make,
Of course they did.
to Heidi's point, you got to make the right moves, right?
Yeah, they got to be the right ones.
And I also will say this: I'm not really worried about the Knicks losing fans right away.
Right. That's fair.
But I will say that in a couple of years, if the trend keeps on going this way, like first round exits and all the other stuff, it's not going to be emotional, and I will see people jumping ship to the team that's winning. But that's if the Nets can keep all three of them for multiple years. Go ahead,
And younger
what you
people
doing?
younger people coming up and wanting to root for the winning team, right? So you have like
Mm-hmm.
new generations of people. Like I think
I'm gonna say this very quickly, and then
He's
gonna
gonna go
make
for
my picks.
Devin Booker.
I'm gonna say this very quickly. So this is the thing that I'm gonna tell you. The only thing that is stopping the Brooklyn Nets from being a dominant dynasty is the Brooklyn Nets. Okay, and health. If KD gets hurt, it's over. If James Harden gets hurt, it's over. If Kyrie gets hurt, it's over. And I want to say that Kyrie is the least one. If he got hurt, they could probably survive that because I think other players would step up. And all three of them are 30 plus, and all three of them have a lot of basketball miles on them. So I am worried about that. If they stay
But he's
healthy,
uniting the world.
no, what?
He's uniting the world, dude. What are you doing?
We're
Why
going to
you
get
gotta
to
be
him in a
negative?
second. But this is the thing that I want to say. I want to say that the Brooklyn Nets, the only enemy they have is the Brooklyn Nets. And if they stay healthy, they love playing with each other. The chemistry is good. That team is
How are we
vibing.
talking about the Nets?
I'm saying that, and now I'm going to say my pick. The Knicks. I'm going back to the Knicks.
All right.
Calvin's right. I'm picking Devin Booker. Because y'all picking somebody who's 30 plus, and I know Dame Dollar is the serious truth. He is the best. He's to me, he's the best point guard in the league. But Devin Booker's 24 years old. He's 24 years old doing what he's doing, and the fact that he's a sniper. And here's the thing about Devin Booker. Here's the thing: you get Dame Dollar, you got to trade Derrick Rose. You know why? Because they play the same position, and you're going to trade quickly. No, I'm going to trade for Devin Booker. I'm going to trade quickly. I'm going to trade R.J. Barrett. I'm going to trade Mitchell Robinson. And who's going to back up DeAndre Ayton. Yes. And I'm going to trade my next 2 years worth of first picks for Devin Booker. Because you want to know why? You know who's his best friend? Do you want to know who's his best friend?
Is it Jesus?
No. Karl Anthony Towns, who is the truth. That is, you put him at center with Julius Randle and Devin Booker, and you put him with Derrick Rose, and you put him with Obi Toppin coming off the bench, and you put him with Bullock, and yo, that's a champ. That's
Okay,
a
but
chip.
you
That's
just
a chip.
invented this other scenario where best friends.
You got to do your homework. You got to do your homework because here's
I'm
you
sorry.
got to know that
Yeah.
players nowadays. What are players nowadays doing? They want to play with their friends. Everybody's doing it, and you got to know who Devin Booker's friends is. And Dame Lillard has said it multiple times. I'm not trying to be friends with anybody. I'm trying to win. I'm trying to be competitive. So right there, the fact that Dame Lillard is older, and I love Dame Lillard, the fact that he's older, and the fact that he's not playing. I mean, a lot of people love and respect him, but he's too competitive. Devin Booker and Karl Anthony Towns be on that banana boat. They be trying to play. They hang out in the off season, and guess what? Devin Booker's the truth.
Friends with? Guess who he's also friends with?
Who?
Who's on his team now?
Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton.
No. Karl Anthony Towns with D'Lo, right? And
Yeah.
guess where they are as best friends?
Minnesota.
They wasn't even sniffing the playoffs.
No, I understand that. No, but Karl Anthony Towns, you put him at center with Julius Randle. Yo, that's the squad. Bottom line, forget about Karl Anthony Towns. I want Devin Booker because he is a sniper and I think he's got
get
more
the age.
upside.
I think the age thing is valid.
Yes.
But
So
who's ready to win now? Who you?
Devin
so
Booker.
You sitting here What?
Both of them. No. Stop. Both of them are.
Bro.
Both of them are ready to win now. But like I said, Dame Lillard is older. He's almost a decade older than Devin Booker.
He's 32. Got you.
Almost.
Okay.
And that doesn't mean, listen, if I came to them with that trade and Phoenix said, no, we don't want that trade, you're damn straight. I'm going to go after Dame. I want them both.
We agree to disagree.
No, I want them both. But I would definitely throw in Mitchell Robinson for Devin Booker with RJ Barrett and quickly. What? Yes. Absolutely.
So this is what I'm going to say because of that. Now, Devin Booker's not a slouch. I'm not saying if you got him, it's a loss. Right? But I'm saying this. He hasn't fully proven really anything first time in the playoffs. He's going to need the right people to help him out, a la having a Chris Paul, right? So, also the style that the Knicks are playing. Damian Lillard is a threat. Like, he is a legit, I got to pick you up at half court because I'm about to shoot you out the gym. You just saw what he could do with, I don't even want to say lesser. I'm not even going to try to play Portland like that. But I'm saying so since we adding other people, can I get this Melo back? So can we get Melo also
Melo's a free agent
with Dame?
This, so yeah, absolutely. And he should come back to New York. I'd like to see him redeem himself. But we do have to move on. We got to move on because it is that. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We are growing like crazy. We love that everybody chatting in the chat. Chat if you are watching because that's always a fun thing to get your opinion heard. And that is awesome. That being said, the next topic of the night, because we're going to hit on this really quick, I'm going to start with the man who's changing the world, supposedly. After the little stomp and everything, we're going to show the video for those who don't know, and then we're just going to talk about it, because this was kind of ridiculous.
Issues around the NBA with fans crossing the line. Somebody tossed a water bottle and it nearly hit Kyrie as he was walking to the tunnel. Tyler Johnson noticed it and the Nets began to point out who it was in that section. There are cameras everywhere, so you're going to see the toss right there. It just misses Kyrie. This is as the Nets were exiting. Kevin Durant was doing the interview with Michael Grady, and security began to converge and look for the guilty party. Obviously completely unnecessary and just flat out stupid.
Yeah, it's an absolute shame. And we've seen incidents during this postseason, but it's just a terrible.
So I just want to put out that the reason why I wanted to get that last part in, because first of all, we talked about this off the air, and me and Calvin, I think all of us agree that what Kyrie did was not hurting anybody, right? Everybody could say that he stepped on the logo, he wiped his feet at the logo. It was classless. It was a little, you being a sore winner. But at the end of the day, it didn't hurt anybody. You're throwing a bottle at somebody's head could almost take out an eye. And the guy was arrested. And I wanted to show that the guy was arrested because here's the bottom line. Once again, the guy's a 21-year-old kid going to a basketball game, Kyrie made the comments after the game and made comments in social media that this is racially motivated. My man isn't racially. This wasn't a racial attack, in my opinion. Other people could disagree. This wasn't racial. You wouldn't have bought a Kevin Garnett jersey. You would have bought a Brian Scalabrine jersey if this was racially motivated. And no, this was stupidly motivated. This was a 21-year-old kid acting stupid, thinking, oh, if I throw this bottle, my friends will like me and I'll be a hero. No, he sat in jail for 2 days, was arraigned, made bail, $10,000 was set, had to make bail, apparently didn't make bail because he didn't have $10,000, still sitting in jail because you wanted to be stupid and throw a bottle. We talked about this last week, so we're not going to spend too much time on it. Kyrie stepped on the logo and then made the comments about racially motivated. Calvin, I want to throw this to you really quick, and we got to move quick with this. You know, first of all, what do you think about Kyrie stepping on the logo? Second of all, did it deserve the bottle being thrown? And third of all, do you think this was racially motivated?
The bottle being thrown, no, I don't think any physical retaliation by fans, is warranted, because at the end of the day, it's a game, right? Like, I know emotions get into it and all the other stuff. Do I think it was racially motivated? No. Do I think that Kyrie is a human clickbait magnet? Yes, because to throw the seed out there that I hope there's no racial whatever, like, now all of a sudden you want to say that. If that was truly the case, why didn't you say it when you were playing for them and all this other stuff? So now all of a sudden you just want to kind of take that out your back pocket and make it about Kyrie again. This is my feelings. I could be wrong, but I feel like Kyrie is happy when things are about Kyrie, or he's relevant with certain things. And also, come on, you were going to act like you didn't know going into Boston, win or lose, and stepping on the logo wasn't going to create some kind of issues with the fans in general. Now, I'm not saying he invited people to throw things at him, but no, he reminds me of that person that's always instigating with people, and then when he gets punched in the face because nobody saw him instigating, he want to be like, oh my God, I don't know why you did that, because you hate me. No. So that's what I think about
I'm going to say this, and I know Heidi's probably going to say the thing, but I'm just going to say it. They didn't throw a bottle at you because you were black. They threw a bottle at you because they hate you. Like, because they don't like you. Like, that's.
I'll tell you what. I don't like that the guy did it, and I don't like violence.
He's a jerk, and he's still in jail.
I
and
don't
good
like
for him.
Violence of any kind. Period.
Stupid.
I do
so
think.
Stupid.
I think Calvin just made a really good point, though, that you cannot live. And Joseph, I know that you think this. You cannot live in a world where you do provocative and disrespectful things and expect there to be no consequences. And sometimes, like, Kyrie Irving is well aware that he is in a stadium full of people who hate his guts, and some of them are drinking. Yep. And you think this is a good place to do something as disrespectful as stomp on the logo?
Yeah.
Like, did it hurt anyone? No. Was it designed to be provocative?
Yes, absolutely.
And then when things happen, you're going to call it racism? Like, the reality is Kyrie Irving is an ass. And there are like 7 reasons to not like you, dude, that have go like well before we get to race. Like, and it annoys me. Like, every time something doesn't work out the way a woman wants it to, it isn't sexism. And every single time you act like a jerk and people call you on it, it isn't racism either, Kyrie. Like, it's just you're an ass. And people are reacting to you like you're an ass because that's what you are. So I agree with Calvin, this whole thing where, like, he does something provocative just to kind of keep him. Like, I feel like there's this part of me that thinks that when that stuff went down with Russ Westbrook and Trae Young, he was, like, annoyed it wasn't him.
Yeah.
Because it's the kind of thing he would like to happen to him.
Wow.
So he can get the mic and be injured and be a victim and then, like, stand up for some cause that actually has nothing to do with what happened. And it's almost like, dude, did you push buttons just so that something would happen to you so that it could be your turn?
Yeah,
like,
so
I wouldn't put it past him.
This is what I'm going to say. So this is the one thing I slightly disagree. I didn't mind that he stepped on the logo. It's a logo. And it's the perfect way. Just like I didn't mind when Terrell Owens ran to the Dallas Cowboys star and put his hands up and then got hit. Here's the thing, and that was player versus player. I didn't mind when
I don't think what Kyrie did was for the players.
No. I'm talking about Terrell Owens and the Cowboys. That was player versus player. That was fine. When Roger Clemens took the bat and threw it at Mike Piazza,
exactly. Yeah.
It was dangerous, but I was like, okay, it's player versus player. When a fan gets involved with a player, I said it last week and I'll say it again. You should be arrested. The other thing I'm going to say is that Kyrie did what he did. I didn't mind it. I don't like Boston. I don't like the Celtics. I like Kemba Walker. I actually think Danny Ainge is one of the best GMs in the history of the game. But at the end of the day, I don't like Boston. I'm not a Boston fan in any way, shape, or form. But the fact is that he stepped on the logo and I was like, good. My Brooklyn side came out. I was like, good. But then you should have booed him. You should have said, Kyrie, you suck. You should have booed him out of the building. You should have cursed him out. And then that was it. Not throw the bottle.
Nobody here in this conversation, nobody listening thinks it's okay to throw a bottle.
Of course.
But if you think that was if you think that was like the things that you just mentioned, I think you're wrong.
No,
because
but I don't.
It was
I didn't
directed.
Say that. No.
But here's the
Hold
difference.
on, but that's what I did. I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
It was directed at the fans, and that's who got angry. Right? He didn't stomp on the logo to tick off Kemba Walker. He stepped on the logo to tick off the fans.
Yes, and
so
here's my point. Like to Calvin's point, and this is what I agree with this 100%. If you are a person who is instigating a fight, and somebody gets tired of your nonsense and comes over,
don't be surprised. It doesn't make it right.
There's consequences for every consequences for every single thing.
Not that it's not still wrong, by the way. I'm just saying, don't be surprised when it happens.
It's the truth. Mm-hmm. So I think that was a quick discussion. I wanted to bring that up, but we are going to move on to the next topic because the next topic is definitely it's a serious one. It's sports athletes, getting depressed. Naomi Osaka reportedly said that she was pulling out of the French Open because she needed to get away from the game of tennis. And, the statement says as goes. I think it's best for the tournament, the other players, and my well-being is that I withdraw, that everyone can get back to focusing on tennis that's going on in Paris. The truth is I suffered long bouts of depression since the US Open in 2018, and I have a really hard time coping with that. I'm going to take some time away from the court right now. Now, the pose of the question, I'm rocking my tennis hat because this is my tennis hat. When I play tennis, this is what I wear. This is what I will tell you. Commendable for this young lady to do what she's doing. It is kind of crazy that she actually received some criticism for this, and nobody gave her criticism for being selfless and saying, "Look, I'm going to pull out of this major tournament, which is going to cost me some money," because she was going to be in the Final Four, and she pulled out for the sake of the game. She didn't want to be the focal point of the game, but the criticism that she received from a lot of the fans on social media is that how are you in battling bouts of depression when you are the highest paid female athlete in the world? Okay, that and by the way, no small feat to do that, and that is saying a lot because there are a lot of female athletes that are doing big things. But she is the highest paid female athlete, to the tune of $52 million in 2020, and that was just her salary, not even talking endorsements. So the fact that here's the question posing to anybody: you are 100% hearing her say what she's saying. Does money solve all problems? So that's the question.
Absurd.
Yeah.
It's absolutely absurd. Yes. It has nothing to do with anything. It has nothing to do with anything, and there are countless examples. In fact, I think the opposite is probably largely true, that the more in the spotlight you are and the more you, quote unquote, sort of like reach your dreams, the more you sometimes realize that they're kind of empty and you feel tons of pressure, and it is not like money solves nothing. So nothing about motion. I want to clarify, though, the reason she dropped out was that she was unwilling to do the post, and Calvin, I'm very interested to hear what you think about this too. She was unwilling to do the post-game interviews with the press.
Yes.
And she dropped out. She was going to get fined for that. It became a whole thing, and she said, you know what, let me just drop out because I don't want my issue with not wanting to do and she was going to pay the fine and fine, but she didn't want that to be the
which
thing
is
that
the selfless part.
Now, here's the thing that I have never understood the point of post-game conferences because I have never heard. I don't know if you guys, seen the movie Bull Durham where Kevin Costner coaches him right on like, well, we're going to take it one day at a time, and God will. Like they all say either the same stuff or nothing. There's never, I cannot recall a single time when a really truly useful piece of information emerged. I feel bad for these people that they have to engage in this theater when they've just played and half of them have lost and they're dealing with the emotions of that. It feels like Katie talked about with the Kyrie thing, the human zoo. I feel like post-game press conferences are a human zoo. You know what, reporters? You can talk to these guys at another time. Yeah. You can give them a little bit of time to get some composure, to reflect on what happened. Absolutely. They haven't even had a chance to reflect on what happened. And this poor girl, I just want to give you an example of some of the questions she's gotten asked. After she had lost a really important game a couple years back, she was asked, how do you go about restoring your confidence after this? What do you do over the next few days to pick yourself up? And then she was asked, when you play someone you've lost to so recently, how hard is it to not have that in your head? Do you think because you're younger, it can be difficult to be consistent at this age? Multiple times she's been asked about her last name, her ethnicity. She's been asked to say things in Japanese. I mean, they treat these players like they are dancing monkeys that are there. And then the press has the balls to get annoyed that somebody doesn't want to engage in this farce with them.
That's true.
And I am so proud of her for saying, you know what, this costs me. She had literally said on the mic multiple times before, like, I feel like I'm going to cry. Yeah. Like, I am so proud of her, and people like Michael Phelps and other people who've struggled publicly with
Serena Williams Serena was another one.
Have come forward and said this is wrong, and it's so great that she's.
But you know what? Here's the thing that this is the thing I'm going to say. I'm going to play devil's advocate, and I'm going to answer that for 1 second and say, and devil's advocate and defense. The bottom line is they sign these contracts. The bottom line is they sign up for when they go through the ranks and they become the best in the world. You sign up for a certain level of criticism and ridicule. That's what you sign up for when you're getting paid millions and millions of dollars. We see it in Hollywood all the time. Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez are back together and again, and oh my God, you got reporters camping out in front of their things. Now, what I'm going to say is that's what you sign up for with a certain amount of celebrity. But here would be me. This is what I'm aiming for this. I would like that. You know what I would say if I was Osaka? I was a celebrity sitting in front of the camera being asked, hey, about your ethnicity, I would look out and say, what's your ethnicity? What's your last name? And I would, but this is my point. I don't understand in today's day and age why the athletes are, if they get a stupid and rude and nasty question, why can't they be stupid, rude, and nasty back?
They're not allowed.
No, but here's the thing. This is, and you're right. So here's the bottom line. Here's the thing that needs to change. Commissioner Adam Silver, you need to either fine the reporters for asking dumb, stupid, rude, and nasty questions, or you need to allow the players to come back at them the same way. And every other commissioner of every other league needs to do the same thing. If you're going to police the fans for doing dumb things like throwing water bottles, and if you're going to police the players for smoking the weed when they're not supposed to, or doing other drugs, or doing domestic violence, which you should, when the press gets out of hand and does something bad like this, you got to police them too. And you know what's amazing about that? Did we not learn from Princess Diana being chased through a damn tunnel when I was 13 years old and being killed because the paparazzi was in a high-speed chase through the French highway? Did we not learn from that?
I have more to say on this. Calvin, what do you think?
Calvin, please go.
I am in 100% agreement with her position being Naomi Osaka, because I don't think that money solves everything. I do believe that the more people are in your business, look, I know this from Facebook, right? Like let's just take a simple thing like Facebook, right? Where most people know the people that are on their Facebook, and the more people that start to weigh in on like your own personal. And I think we probably have all had, so this isn't a slight against anybody, but we've all probably had that post or whatever that we posted, right? That was for us. And then we had somebody that felt like they needed to not only weigh in on what you said, but kind of trample on it and also speak to you as if you were like less than a person, right? And that's just us as regular people. I couldn't be famous. I've said this before. I could probably be rich, but I couldn't be famous because I can't deal with people that feel like they have the right to ask me whatever they want to, because I have the right to not answer whatever I want to. And
I think that's the one thing you and Kyrie agree on.
I mean, I actually don't mind that about him. It's one thing I don't mind about Kyrie.
And I agree with KD. Yeah. Right. And I agree with Kevin Durant on the fact of when he says, you know, you guys act like athletes aren't people also. And I do believe that that's also kind of been a thing. This is one of the things that's also antiquated about sports in general. Before, it used to be kind of this thing, right? Like, you finish your game, you go and you dress up, but they also ask questions that were more sports related and things like that, right? So you could kind of get out of your feelings, and it was more to the game. But like you said, say something in Japanese. You're not a Japanese reporter. What if I said something in Japanese? Are you going to know what it said?
No, you know what? You know what I would have said? I would have said, yo, you can go F off in Japanese. That's what I would have said. I would have totally did that.
This girl at the time that she was asked this question, she was 21 years old. And she's still young. The idea that you know what you're signing up for as a professional tennis player, when these people join that circuit at 15, 16 years old, you can't possibly.
No, and this is the thing, that I want to say. The Tennis Association, she is the number 2 ranked player in the world. She is and at one point, for a good portion of last year, she was the number 1 ranked player. And here's the bottom line. She was the number 1 ranked player until she dropped out of this tournament. If you know that this is one of your brilliant talents, she's young, she is a great player. She knows how to, for the most part, how to conduct herself. She's a good person. Why not protect her? When that question was asked, the association, all these associations that do these amazing, these tournaments or whatever, should have immediately said, okay, this is unacceptable. We are moving on. When you go to a press conference, at any one of these press conferences, the USTA has their marketing and their public relations person. Literally, that public relations person should have took the mic and said, excuse me, Miss Osaka, I'm going to handle this. You are going to be escorted out of the room because that was a horrible question and we will not tolerate it. Goodbye. Yeah. And I want to just say one last thing. I know you want to jump in, but when you're at the U.S. Open, they escort you out, or when you're in Wimbledon, they escort you out because you're being too loud. You can't escort a reporter out for asking a borderline racist and ridiculously stupid question, inappropriate question. Come on.
I will say, I want to say more broadly, I think let's not pretend. So again, Naomi Osaka didn't say she wouldn't do press conferences. She said she didn't want to do the post-game press conference.
She'll do it any other day, just not after.
She'll do it before the game. She'll do it on a different day. Nobody is suggesting that athletes don't have a responsibility to speak to the press and to answer questions. Like, nobody's saying that. Yeah. But let's not sit here and pretend that what reporters are hoping for in a post-game press conference is that someone's going to break.
They are hoping that's ratings.
They're hoping for that soundbite from Dame when he kind of he lets off a little bit because he's upset. Like, that's why they want to do it at that moment. They want to catch these players when they're emotionally vulnerable and exhausted. So this is predatory. It's just not okay. It shouldn't happen in any sport. These people should be allowed to just freaking take a breath.
But you know what? But you know who's at fault? I mean, here's the bottom line.
The associations are.
The associations, governing bodies, and also the reporters' bosses.
Well, of course.
And the people who say, no, you got to get in there and ask all the tough questions all the time. And it's one thing if you're asking, hey, Miss Osaka, what do you think about this match that you just played your heart out, you didn't win, how do you rebound? I didn't think there was anything wrong with that question because that's a tennis-focused question. When you start saying speak Japanese, I would have cursed him out in Japanese, and then I totally would.
The press doesn't regulate itself. So
don't let me be a public relations person.
But the associations need to. They need to basically say, we're not going to do this anymore. We can schedule press conferences at a different time. Go interview the players when they're practicing. Interview them.
Yeah. Yes.
Find other times, because that is a hard moment for a lot of players and the coaches, and they deserve to not have to go through it. It feels gross to me.
It's horrible. It's very horrible.
Well, and also, sorry,
they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
I'm going to say one last thing.
Wait, Calvin
They shouldn't allow people to come out and say things like that. It's horrible. Calvin, go.
Well, and the honest bottom line is this, right? I don't care if every other athlete in the world before her did it and was okay with it and all that other stuff. The point is, as a person, if it's affecting her mental health, that is on her. You know what I'm saying? Like, so where do we get? I don't like the idea that a lot of people have that because you make so many millions of dollars, right, and because you're doing this and you get paid this, we have the right to expect from you something more, like they're
Right.
like Kevin Durant said, like they're not human beings, right? Like they're not 21 or 20 something years old. Yeah, they make millions. That's not their fault, right? Like that's been happening way before. So the fact that people feel like they can do that and just kind of circumvent the fact that all of this really had to do with her mental health and how she was, right? And she said, it's better for the game and everybody else for me to take myself out of it, right?
Yeah.
And make this less about me so that y'all can focus on tennis and getting the best product that you can, right? Like, and the fact that people still have issues with that.
It's true.
Kind of very much annoys me, but so best of luck to you, Naomi. If you watching this, we got your back here at Fan to Fan. You know what I mean? We fans.
Yep.
We can go get some food together.
Come from this, right? Maybe
I think, I mean, the good thing that should come from this is a very simple thing, and I don't know why it hasn't been done before, but I understand sports are trying to grow, and that's the devil's advocate. These sports want the ratings, and I'm going to tell you right now, she's going to come back, and everybody's going to want to watch her because now she's set a precedence where she took time off and she's opened up, and now people are going to want to support her or go at her, and it's like, you know, bullseye on her back, unwarranted. And I hope once again they have public relations people. Every single public relations person that is in the USTA or any other tennis organization around the world needs to be on guard for these dumb questions. It is literally against the law in most countries to ask somebody about their medical practices, and depression is a medical practice. So I hope that those public relations people, and I'm going to make sure that they are tagged on everything that we post for this particular segment, and do your job. They ask a stupid question. Excuse me, sir. You have to be. You're going to be escorted out because that was very unprofessional. And that's it. And by the way, they escort people out for less. So we are going to start wrapping it up. We were going to talk some baseball. We're going to save that for next week because we definitely want to make sure that baseball is covered. But we are super over, and we want to wrap this up. So one of the things I will say is hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and if you know a friend who likes sports and would like to get in this conversation, it was an emotional one today. We're going to have so many more. Make sure you tell a friend. We have a new episode of Heat and Receipts up for the wrestling fans out there that are watching. Check that out. And we have an extra point from Heidi that I said at the end. I'm definitely going to say, Calvin, what do you want to say to the people?
I mean, as always, right? Like, I like episodes like this because it does highlight what I like about sports. It also highlights some of the things that I don't like about sports, right? But I mean, either if it's the likes or the dislikes is the fact that I get to engage the emotions. I get to just, say my opinion, and whether we agree or disagree, right? It's still always a good time and things like that. So, I mean, with that being said, love everybody engaging. I got to Google what Paul said.
Yes, you do.
You do. It's very nasty.
I got to Google what he said. And as always, man, we love and appreciate each and every one of y'all. And it was a joy to do this once again.
By the way, Calvin, did you check out the latest Heat and Receipts?
I did.
Yeah.
It was blood and guts?
Yes. And look, I checked that out, and definitely check out the extra point. Like
that's amazing. Yeah, people got to watch that extra point. Yes.
You guys are great.
That's great. Heidi, what do you want to say to the people?
I want to say that I thought that was going to be worse. I thought you and Calvin were going to.
I don't know why. You don't give me any niceness
know why?
points. Wow.
You guys have been arguing with each other on WhatsApp for days.
Because he's delusional. Because he doesn't like Brooklyn, and he was born in Brooklyn.
I feel like I did something very strategically bad.
I just want to say,
I'm really
he literally
regretting.
says it. He says he's done with Brooklyn.
How is this your goodbye?
This
is my goodbye.
He's done with Brooklyn. I don't understand.
I take it back. It was just as bad as I thought it would be. And
so bad.
It'll probably
He's supposed to support Brooklyn. He was born in Brooklyn.
Later, oops, I poked the Bears. Okay,
sorry guys.
Just for that, I'm gonna eat a candy.
Hey, not me this time, Heidi. Not me this time. I didn't re-engage.
I mean, I felt like you came in really ready to rumble, and then he didn't actually throw as much gasoline on the fire as you thought he was going to. So we should end it now. Before I
just have one question for you, Calvin.
No.
One question.
What?
You think the Knicks are making the playoffs next year?
No,
maybe. We'll see.
No. Veto this question.
I said maybe. We'll see.
There we go.
There's still a lot to see. I already said that earlier.
Calvin is realistic and impartial.
Yeah. See, Marcus is lucky he didn't watch because he'd have got it. Okay?
That's right.
I love him. I love Marcus. All right. So we are going to wrap it up tonight. Once again, check us out next week, Thursday at 9:05 p.m. Eastern on Execution Entertainment Media on YouTube and Twitch and, Facebook Live. We are here. We are always ready to do the great things. Follow us at Fan to Fan Show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Also, follow Heat and Receipts for the wrestling fans out there on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We are going to be back next week, and we're going to be talking baseball, but we're also going to get into more NBA playoffs. Definitely, it's going to be more precise because it was so all over the place because there was so much going on. But we love you all. Keep watching sports. Keep having fun. Remember, tell a friend. We are growing almost 1,600 subscribers. It's pretty amazing. It's good times. Thank you very much. Have a good night.